Are we ready to talk about this garbage?
Jesus. Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, let's clap in, huh?
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Yep.
Let's see what Sarah says when she hears this. 3, 2, 1. Great.
We've been recording, but we just clapped.
Did she
Hour and a half.
actually?
And Bailey's
What did I
yelling.
say? What did I say?
What did she say?
I knew it.
She
what
said,
did she
"Are
say?
you guys just now recording?"
We've been recording for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We just started talking
some
about
of
the
this
movie.
some of this will make it into the edit.
Some of it will make it in.
Some of it.
Yeah,
Chair
dear
dogs,
listener,
maybe.
just so you know, I cut out like over an hour of stuff.
Almost
But
an hour
the
and a
chair
half.
dogs stay, right?
Almost an hour and a half
No,
of
chair
stuff.
dog should not stay.
I think just our talk about the chair dogs right now will stay so that no one knows what we're talking about and they'll have to Google it.
All, two people who've read are going to be like, oh yeah, chair dogs, yeah.
I'm actually going to bleep out the book you just mentioned.
If you've read it, you know. If you've read it, then you know about the chair dogs.
If you know what a chair dog is, you're a real one.
But you can't check your six. It's kind of like, taking a screwdriver to a gunfight. What's happening? Just like old Tom.
Welcome to Steven See It All, I guess.
I guess.
I'm Aaron.
I'm Zach, I guess.
I'm Hans, I guess.
And this week, we're talking about the Asian connection, which if the title of the
hate
film
that
makes you
sentence.
uncomfortable, you're right. You're good. I agree with you.
What is the connection?
There is no connection.
There's no connection.
There's no connection. Most of the people in this movie who do anything are white dudes from the United States and Australia. Anyone who has any agency in the film, with very few exceptions, is not Asian. It is a very weird movie.
But
My
Aaron-
Letterboxd review, 1/2 star, Bonnie and Clyde, but boring.
But Aaron, what about that random woman that Steven Seagal does Tai Chi with in the middle of the movie for no reason? Is that not the
Gets-
Asian connection?
No speaking lines.
No, she's just chilling.
So I will say, I think this is the movie in which he begins to learn his lessons from Machete.
Oh, wow, we're only like 3 years late.
What?
He learns all the wrong lessons. from
Look at that. Oh,
okay.
he expertly, baited and switched, my friend.
So more than this movie does. That's
my
more
God.
plot development than this entire movie gets. This is a very boring movie. The Asian Connection, directed by Daniel Zerilli, written by Daniel Zerilli, D. Glass Lomond, and Tom Sizemore.
Tom Sizemore had a
Tom
writing
Sizemore
credit
of
in this?
Ticker fame. Okay, because we talked about it a little bit last week, actually. I
Yeah.
don't know if he has
forgot.
writing credit or if he has a story by credit. Tom Sizemore
It's
wrote,
a story by credit.
Yes, he wrote a story called The Mexican Connection. And they took that story and then they titled it The Asian Connection. And I've not read
Yeah.
The Mexican Connection, but I assume it's somehow related to robbing banks, probably. I would assume maybe the only way it relates.
Yeah.
guess.
So to do let's do like the briefest possible plot synopsis.
We really need a recap on this one because, fun fact, if you try to look for it online, you can't find a plot recap. There's only these synopsis
Nope.
segments that you can find online, and they're
And they don't
not
make any
correct,
sense.
and they're wrong.
Nope.
They
They're
do
wrong.
not tell you accurately what happens in the movie.
I think this is the shortest Wikipedia article we've seen about
Yeah.
a Steven Seagal movie so far. This is where all the Wikipedia editors, our bro in Poland, this is where they all gave up.
I can't blame them.
Which, hey, fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
So what actually happens in this movie?
So,
we are the
what
only
actually happened
accurate
in this
source of
movie?
information on this movie online.
Okay.
Have any of the other podcasts gotten this far?
I hope not.
There's a guy named Jack. I think that's his name.
Yeah, it is. Comes into play later.
Yeah, and he and his
Don't make that
his
face. It does.
buddy Sam decide to go rob a bank, in Cambodia.
Right.
No, in Thailand. They live in Cambodia, they rob a bank in Thailand, or they live in Thailand and they rob a bank in Cambodia. One or the other. No, they live in Thailand, they go to Cambodia to rob a bank. They ride their dirt bikes over the border, and they rob a bank in Cambodia. Just so Jack has fallen in love with an Asian woman named Avalon. I think she is the Asian connection.
Aaron, don't even try.
She's the whole...
There is no connection.
He falls in love with this girl while he's like on vacation in Thailand, and falls in love with the girl who sells cigarettes at the beach.
Cigars. Come on.
No,
Oh,
her
God.
sign says cigarettes.
Oh, it doesn't really? I thought it was
Yes.
cigars.
No. Well, throughout much of the world, you can buy single cigarettes. That's like a thing.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
I thought it was cigars. I thought that was like classy.
No, like when I was in Mexico City, you could like walk anywhere and you could buy single cigarettes from guys out of a fish tank. It's very interesting. But yes, it shows she's like a cigarette or maybe cigar saleswoman at the beach. He falls in love with her. Yes, Zachary.
I'm so sorry, but we need to issue a correction. I know I said we are the only accurate source of information about this
Oh
movie.
my god.
So part of being accurate is owning up to and correcting our own mistakes. The Wikipedia page says that this is based on a story by Tom Sizemore called The Mexican Connection, but there is no, when you look for The Mexican Connection, that doesn't exist. It seems like it was The Colombian Connection, a 2014 R-rated film that has Tom Sizemore like listed in the credits. So maybe he didn't write The Mexican, and maybe he wrote The Colombian Connection that this is based on. Nobody even cares to make sure that anything about any of these movies is correct online. So just tread lightly, tread with caution. If you're trying to be a scholar of the Asian Connection, is all I will say, is double check, triple check your sources.
Oh, we've definitely entered an era of Seagal where like nothing you can find on any of these things is like understandable. There's no clear information about how any of these movies were made, how people got involved,
The
how much
budgets
money
are
was
just
used.
complete guesses.
Yeah. This movie is less than 90 minutes. It feels like 3 hours.
The credits are just making up names that aren't real.
Yes. So they can say that they were like such and such odd graphic designers who worked on this movie who didn't. I don't think they exist. Anyway, Jack falls in love with Avalon while on vacation in Thailand. He doesn't have much money, and so he wants to provide a good life for her. So he teams up with his buddy Sam, an Australian, and they rob a bank in Cambodia. They ride their dirt bikes over the border, they rob a bank, and they come back. Turns out that bank is a mob bank holding money for the mob boss, Steven Seagal. Who
He's the bad guy.
Is credited as Gan Sirankiri. Is he playing an Asian in this movie?
It's
No,
not
you
worth
can't
it.
look that far into it.
Now, this is where I begin to say that he learned a lesson, but the wrong lessons from Machete. I think
Okay.
this is the first Steven Seagal-led film where he's played a villain, like just an out-and-out villain.
You could argue that this isn't a Seagal-led film, but sure.
It's as much a Seagal film as like Into the Dark or whatever that one with the zombie vampires was.
Well, okay, but all of these movies of late have really starred someone else, and even though he's on the poster, like he has just as much screen time in this as he does in Machete.
So, I'm getting from Seagal a lot of Machete vibes, but without, Danny Trejo and Michelle Rodriguez and like all these other people to help guide him.
It's like Seagal's role here is exactly the same as he had in Machete, but all the other parts of Machete are kind of fun. Just get rid of those. You don't have them.
Yeah, just get rid of all the fun parts of Machete.
like whenever he like cuts a dude open and like rides the entrails down, like
God.
bungee jumps like into the next
Yeah.
floor with them. That doesn't happen here.
Yeah, it's just the parts where Seagal walks around with a scantily clad women.
He's just the bad guy.
It's-
That's it.
He's just the bad guy in this one.
And you only see him a handful of times.
Yeah, so Seagal tells one of his henchmen, who apparently convinced him to start putting his money in banks to get his money back. And the henchman, who hates Seagal, like, finds Jack and Sam and says, hey, I am going to hire you to rob a bunch more banks. And he starts sending Jack and Sam to rob the banks in which Seagal is keeping his money to, like, steal from his own boss.
Smart.
That is the smartest thing about this entire film. Is that really that one plot element, which I believe, and this is based on that dubious information that we received about the Mexican connection. I think this was Tom Sizemore's idea. I think that was the central conceit of the film, was like secondary mob guy gets back at his boss by hiring someone to rob all their banks. And so they start doing that, and one thing leads to another. Sam, the Australian, gets shot and dies, not during a bank robbery, by the way, just like while they're out
Carjacking.
buying booze. He gets shot in a carjacking.
Because
Completely
they spend
unrelated.
the first 50 minutes of the movie like, hey, this is so dangerous. Hey, we got to keep it. You shot that guy in the leg during the bank. This is too dangerous. We're flying too close to the sun.
Just
and then he
tons of
just dies
setup.
completely unrelated to anything we've been doing.
Yeah, so Sam is like a little bit more trigger happy than Jack. Jack tries very hard never to shoot anybody. He doesn't pull a trigger on a gun until like 2/3 of the way through the movie. But Sam is like willing to shoot in the air and maybe like shoot some people in the leg and stuff. And Jack is constantly criticizing him for being too trigger happy. And then Sam dies in a completely unrelated carjacking that never comes up again. But we just need Sam to die so that Jack can hire his girlfriend for one last job.
Right.
Uh,
Bonnie and Clyde.
yeah,
But boring.
but boring.
Perfect summation.
So Avalon convinces Jack, hey, we have one more bank robbery to do for Mob Guy. And we know that Mob Guy and Seagal hate each other. So what if I replace Sam and we do this bank robbery and we'll get the money and somehow get out of all this? Or like, was their plan to rat out to Seagal, which they never do?
There was if there was a plan,
I don't
they
know if
never
the end
followed
game
through
was.
with it. There was no end game. It was just
don't
an
know what
excuse to
their
get the
plan
girlfriend
was.
in on the heist, and then she's
Honestly,
out of nowhere really into it.
Honestly, the
Yeah.
end game is that somebody wrote the synopsis of this movie, and it was like they're forced to team up Bonnie and Clyde style to like go after the banks, and then they realize we're an hour into the movie and that hasn't happened yet. So just make it happen.
That's pretty much
That's the end
it.
game. Because okay,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'll let you finish first.
Yeah, no, like my one script doctor on this was like,
Oh,
how
we're
Just
not even
one?
there yet.
well, no, because like you could fix the movie at this point and say Sam dies during like the first bank robbery, and Jack needs to rob more banks because the mob guy is telling him you need to rob more banks or I'm gonna kill you. And so Avalon is like, I'll help you, and they become Bonnie and Clyde, but in Cambodia. Like that would have worked better if Sam died
Yeah.
way earlier.
Okay,
not
that would have
in
worked better. That
the-
wouldn't make it a good movie.
No, but
There
it
are
would
other
have
issues.
made more sense. But anyway, so there's like one last job that they have to pull off, and then apparently they're done, even though the mob boss guy says you're not done. He tells them you will not be done after this job. You'll be done when I say you're done. And they don't make a plan to rat him out to Seagal or anything. Like they just say, okay, we'll rob that bank, I guess, with no pushback at all. And so they go and rob the bank. It goes terribly. Jack gets shot in the shoulder, and he very slowly bleeds out over the rest of the film. And Seagal comes by with like a literal truckload of guys.
Well, a truckload of like 3 guys.
Like 3 guys.
It's a really
and
big
they-
truck, and it's like the bed has like 2 dudes in it.
Yeah, they have a shootout at the docks. like Jack and Avalon go to the docks like, oh, if we get there, we're home free. So if they get to the dock, there are no boats moored there. There's nothing docked there when they arrive. Like it's not like they called ahead and have a boat waiting for them or something. They just like run to the dock. It's also like on a river.
Yep.
In Thailand. Like they never explain where they're gonna.
This was just like the only empty warehouse that they could get a shoot at. So that's where it was.
And so Seagal ends up killing Jack and letting Avalon go. And so Avalon's like, she gets a voiceover at the end of the movie all about Seagal and how awesome he is for letting her go.
There's a human still in him because he's not a complete monster because he let her go even though he killed her boyfriend.
The one and only time they meet in the movie is when he kills her boyfriend. That's the only time they see each other throughout the whole film. And then she runs to the dock and just stands there because, again, there's no boat.
Well, they cut to the next scene and she's on a boat.
Yeah, they just like cut and she's on a boat. She's at an empty pier and then they cut and she's on a boat and she's giving her like voiceover monologue about how awesome Seagal is for letting her go. And there's like a passing mention of Jack. Also, Michael Jai White is in this movie.
Yeah.
For like
also
30
he's like on the posters and he's the fourth name in the credits. He's in one scene for 2 minutes.
But before we get to that,
he has like
I
5 lines.
Before we get to that, because you just said she just sort of passingly mentions Jack. She doesn't passingly mention Jack. She talks about how Jack now only lives in her memory.
Yep. Okay.
Not different, not at all dissimilar from Titanic. The only difference is that her name isn't Rose. I sat there with my head in my hands thinking like they had to name him Jack. He couldn't have had any other name because now she talks about how she values the time that they had together and no one knows that he was even here except me and he only lives on in my memory. And I'm like,
the one thing I will say,
you're really going for the Titanic pull right now?
In Titanic, she says now he exists only in my memories. In this movie, she says Jack only exists in my heart.
Oh, wow.
But
so unique.
Because when I watched that, I'm
not at all the same.
That was my quote from the movie because I'm like, it's Titanic.
Yeah,
like it's literally Titanic. So I'm with you. What happened was they wrote the script and they said he exists only in my memories, and then they submitted it to Turnitin.com, and the professor was like, that's plagiarism. So they like just changed the one word so they could get away with it. That's what happened.
They just had to name him Jack. They couldn't name the character anything else. If that was the ending they were dead set on.
Okay, no. But see, because
so stupid.
When you look this movie up, you can barely even find like a synopsis for it. You can't find like a full like recap. But Aaron just described what happened. When you look up,
that was the most complete recap that exists on the internet.
Because when you look up and the most accurate, it drove me mad when you look up the IMDb summary and even like in the description, like when I was watching this, like in the description like of the movie, like when you stream it. 2 American expatriates, Jack and Sam, unwittingly steal a drug lord's money while they rob a series of banks in Southeast Asia and become the target of the gang's vengeance.
That's wrong.
That's not true. They rob exactly one bank, and then the guy comes in and and they're like done. They're just like chilling, and then the guy shows up and says, "Hey, I'm going to make you rob more banks," and he starts feeding them.
Also, they're not 2 expatriates.
No,
it's an American and an Aussie.
And they're not on a string of robbing banks. They rob one bank, then this guy comes and makes them start robbing more banks. And they have so far not really received the gang's vengeance. They're like, the gang is aware of them, but they're kind of fine. No one's after them.
Okay, I guess
when Sam is killed,
I didn't think about it nearly as much as you
they
did.
imply that he killed during the bank robberies.
Seagal tells one of his guys to go like hunt them down, but the guy he told to hunt them down is the one who hired them to rob the banks.
Right.
But then we get when Sam is killed,
no one is hunting them.
Jack turns to the love of his life, Palm, and the couple becomes a modern day Bonnie and Clyde that takes the fight to the gang. That's not what happens. They try to do one more job and then escape, and they get chased by the mob. Together they must get the job done while protecting Jack's niece and nephew. There is no niece and nephew.
Yeah, Palm is the actress.
No, the actress's name is Pim.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Hold on.
And he does not have a niece and nephew.
Did I get that wrong?
Every single part of this description is wrong. And also, like, even the parts of it that it kind of does get right, it's just so weird because in a movie like this, what should happen is you have the duo robbing banks. He dies, one of them dies in the first act, so then he has to team up with his girlfriend and they do it together. What happens in this movie is that you're 55 minutes in and they're still both alive. He dies in an unrelated carjacking, and then she's like his girlfriend gives an opening monologue about how my parents told me never to take the easy way. Her boyfriend shows up with like just a bunch of cash, and she's like, hey, have sex with me on this cash. And finds his gun and is just like fine with it. And then at the end, she's like, let me help you rob the banks. And he's like, no, babe, no. And she's like, but I can do it. And he's like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, she gets
her
on board
line
real
was,
quick.
with a body like this,
Oh,
I know how to protect myself.
You're right. It's the IMDb description specifically. The love of his life, Pom.
completely wrong.
The actress's name is Pim, and the character's name is Avalon.
So you can't find an accurate summary of this movie outside of this podcast. But
That's awesome.
Oh my gosh.
But it's even worse than that. Like, even when you get an accurate summary, the experience of watching it is so boring. The pacing is so off. There are weird, like, student film problems in it. Like, the editing and the line reads and the sound design. Like, there are just scenes where they're in a conference room talking and you just hear, like, the background hum of, like, that they literally just filmed it in the room and did no, like, noise, like, cancel, like, they did not do any sound editing on it.
Like, they're just using the microphone on the camera that they're using to film.
No, literally.
Well, because you can only hear it while they're talking, and then as soon as they're done talking, it cuts off.
Like, they just
cut
muted,
it
like,
out.
between the lines.
Yeah.
Like, the ending scene is awful at this because then there's music playing at the same time too, and it literally sounds like they're talking in walkie-talkies. Because like
Sometimes
like,
the music is significantly
and the
louder
character
than the
starts talking,
dialogue.
and then at the end.
Sometimes the
So-
music is significantly louder than the dialogue, and I can't understand what anyone's saying.
So I think in a
painful.
previous episode here, I may have referred to Code of Honor as the room of Steven Seagal movies. I can't remember exactly. I might have said something along those lines. I would like to retract that. I'm going to say I think Code of Honor is the Birdemic of Steven Seagal movies because the Asian Connection is 100% the room of Steven Seagal movies. If you've seen the room,
and not Sniper Special Ops.
Oh,
Sniper Special Ops
is
was
something
so
else.
much worse than this.
No, but it's not just about badness. The reason I say that, I think, like, because if you told me this script, if one of the writing credits was Tommy Wiseau, I would believe you. Because
I
the
don't
way...
know.
So I did not have that bad of a time on this one. The only reason I say that is because I
didn't
think,
either. I will say
I think
that.
it was boring, but it was. Aaron, you've said this in the past. This is like just on the right side of, or what?
Just
I
on the
can't-
wrong side of competent.
Exactly. That's what it. Just on the wrong side of competent. It's competent, but boring, and that's really all it is. I don't know that I would say that this is the room.
The reason I
Steven
would
Seagal.
say that this is the room is not because it's... Because you have to remember, I have a good time watching the room.
Mm-hmm.
You know me.
I know. Okay,
But
yes,
so the reason I say it's the
true.
room is specifically because of the style of the way it's bad.
Yeah.
So the room is
I see
obviously
that.
like worse in every way. The room has like less continuity than this movie. Like this movie, I will kudos put this on the DVD cover. It is more competently made than the room, but the ways in which it is bad reminds me very much, has the essence, the aftertaste of the ways in which the room are bad. And I think a lot of it is just the way like the two romantic main characters are written. Like, are two, the guy and the gal that really like each other, some of their lines sound like Johnny and like Lisa lines from The Room, like it, because it's just constant like, don't worry about it, honey, and like just random like mood changes mid conversation when she's like, I don't want to be involved in anything dangerous, babe, and he's like, don't worry about it, honey, and she's like, okay, stud, love muffin, come do me on this pile of cash. Like, it is a scene from The Room if like they robbed the movie.
Okay.
Like the feel, the pacing, the conversations, the writing is Room-esque in nature.
If we're talking specifically about the relationship between the main character and his girlfriend, then I can definitely see where you're getting that comparison.
But I just, because
sure.
there are Steven Seagal movies that are worse than this, and even like The Room is worse than this, so therefore The Room is more enjoyable than this. But that's why they all are a different bad movie. This is The Room. I think Code of Honor is Birdemic. Sniper Special Ops, it's not a Troll 2. I don't know what Sniper Special Ops
The problem is
Special
I had a
Ops
lot
is
of fun watching Birdemic.
Sniper Special
I love
Ops
Birdemic.
is garbage. I've actually never seen Birdemic.
But because I think Code of Honor has those moments, like with the moments whenever he's just like randomly gunning down these people on the street and they're just like shooting out the fake blood and like people just aren't reacting to it. Like someone gets shot next to them and like they don't react. That
it's the
feels
exploding
like
eagles of Code of Honor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why that gives me those vibes. I'm a nanar sommelier, you know. I'm like tasting and giving you the hints.
It's fighting off the kamikaze eagles with a coat hanger.
Exactly. Yeah, that is Code of Honor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So that's why I will, you know, I'm trying to... My palette is still developing. I couldn't quite tell you what Sniper Special Ops is.
Garbage. Actual garbage.
I'm going to be controversial and say that Sniper Special Ops is like the American Sniper of Steven Seagal movies. Hey,
my Letterboxd review for Sniper Special Ops was American Sniper minus the nuance ... and the sniping.
oh yeah, all the American Sniper minus the nuance. I feel like is also like a secretly like hidden insult in there. Like, let's take a movie that has like 2% nuance and like subtract all the nuance.
Yeah.
So that is why that's my explanation.
Okay,
but also the scene
it.
when Steven Seagal is like, I don't care, I need you like to get this guy and track him down, and then he stops talking, and then he just kind of like flips over this table that was set up in front of him just to be flipped. That's the room.
That's this scene isn't working. I don't really know how to help him out. Let's give him a water bottle to throw and see if it makes any difference.
Yes. The scene where Steven Seagal flips over the table is, it's not true, it's bullshit. I did not hit her. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark. Like, yes, exactly.
Okay, the more you're selling me on it, I'm
Except
with
in this
you.
also, they'll just like give him a scantily clad woman to like touch awkwardly, and we'll see if that does anything to the scene.
Like,
that's very much a Seagalism,
and they do that multiple times.
Like Aaron mentioned this, but we need to underline it. Like, Seagal shows up in this movie for maybe 2 or 3 scenes that are plot relevant, which is he's the mob boss and he's saying like, get my money back. That's all he does. And you will have a scene with the main character is like robbing a bank or something. It will cut to Steven Seagal like doing a weird Tai Chi dance with this woman like in her underwear, and then just cut back to the bank. Like, it is completely that is the room.
Yeah.
Like, there is just, it just cuts. That is like the breast cancer storyline of the room right there. Like, it just does not, it just starts and stops there. You could completely remove it. You should completely remove it, but it's there for some reason.
and
the
yet
problem
no,
is this
actually,
movie is already
that-
88 minutes.
Actually, I take it back. Him doing like the Tai Chi with the woman, that's the like wearing the tuxes and throwing the football of this movie.
Yes.
Okay, so really, we don't normally assign like extracurricular readings to these episodes, but you do need to watch The Room in order to understand. If you're listening to this episode, you don't have to watch The Asian Connection, but you should watch The Room in order to understand.
okay,
that will sell you the vibe of this movie.
But hold on.
Okay,
If you're gonna watch The Room, you need to be like at least 4 beers deep, and you need to be in a room with like 12 other people, so it's not so freaking awkward.
You either need to watch it like completely stone cold sober, like alone, like with nobody else, like the lights completely off, just like on,
I don't
like,
think
a
that's
tiny laptop
possible.
screen. Or you need to be Zach in the year 2013 in his freshman year of college, watching it in like your friend's like dorm room. That's the proper way to experience and really appreciate
Hey,
this
Tommy
movie.
still does screenings of The Room.
If he brought one to Pittsburgh, oh my god, I'd be so all over that.
He still does that. He'll go on tour with The Room every now and again.
Really?
Mm-hmm. He does interviews after it and stuff. He loves that movie.
Wait, never mind. Was this? Oh no, this happened last year.
Oh.
Greg Sestero brought The Room to someplace in Pittsburgh, July 31st, 2023.
Aww.
Okay, I'm gonna keep my eye out for this because I need to see this at some points.
The next time we have a big group get together, I think that's what we have to do, is sit down and make everybody watch The Room.
Life is cyclical. Like, the wheel of time, you can't stop it from turning. You know, it turns forever. You can't destroy the wheel. 10 years ago, that was me. Like, hey, nice to meet you. My name's Zach. You want to go watch The Room? We should go watch The Room. My friend Brian showed me The Room, and now I'm going to make you watch The Room.
But Is it worth asking for a star rating? I gave it half a star.
Half a star.
Half a star.
An enthusiastic half
Not-
a star. I didn't hate this as
not-
much as others.
Yes, not worse than Sniper Special Ops.
No.
Because Sniper Special Ops,
It's a high half a star.
I can't even, like, I'm looking back on it a week later, and I it's difficult for me to put into words how upset and angry and irritated and just broken I was after watching Sniper Special Ops.
Yes.
And after watching this, I'm not feeling even
Yeah.
remotely close to that. I'm just, like, bored. Like,
For me, this is like a 0.6 out of 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was very bored while I was watching it. I did enjoy it while I was watching it, but at least like talking about it, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fun things to latch on. Sniper Special Ops, we were just like, can we just be done with this? Like, this
Yeah.
isn't even...
Yeah, we're actually talking about this one, and that says something. So I'm still gonna rate it half a star because it doesn't. There's nothing about
It was
this
still
that deserves a
trash.
full star, but it's not nearly as painful to sit through as some of the
Out
things we've had
of
before.
the last 4 we watched, it's the one I would most be willing to rewatch.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Anybody have
Yeah.
a favorite line?
I don't even think I remember any lines aside from
I
the
have one.
monologue at the end about Jack.
It's in
For
the,
for
it's in
Hans
the
and
pro-
I, it's both He Lives in My Heart because it's like Titanic.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a prologue,
Ugh.
which we didn't talk about at all because it doesn't matter. I don't even know how it factors in.
It doesn't
Whereas
not
so-
matter. It actively contradicts. If it didn't matter, that'd be one thing. Everything she says in that opening monologue is a lie.
No, where Seagal goes and like has a fight with another mob boss.
Oh, that one just doesn't matter. Oh
And
yeah,
has,
yeah.
like, a
That doesn't.
sword
That
fight?
one just doesn't matter. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's other guy has like a machete and he has a kukri, and they have a fight. And before they fight, he says, "Now one of us has to die. That means one of us has to die." Which we have used in this show for a year now. That's my favorite line.
Isn't it refreshing to know that that line has as little to do with the rest of the movie that it's in as it does to do with our podcast being in the opening
Yes.
sequence?
Oh, absolutely,
Yes,
yeah.
It is equally meaningless in both places.
Because what happens in the movie is they're like seated at a table across from each other, and they're just like talking like, "Oh, we should fight each other," and he's like, "That means one of us has to die." And the other dude's goon kind of walks up to Seagal, and Seagal like kind of lazily paws at the knife and turns it around and like stabs the guy in the chest, like pushes it into the guy's chest, and the guy just falls over, and that seems to be the end of their disputes.
Yeah.
Because they don't like get up and keep fighting. It's like, oh, my guy walked up to you with a knife and you turned around on him. That's the end of that. I guess we're fine. So actually, one of them doesn't have to die. One of this other guy over here has to die.
It's very, very dumb. What would you watch instead?
Ooh.
Titanic. The Room. No, The Room. I'm claiming The Room.
You're gonna. Yeah,
Actually, what would you
go
watch
ahead.
instead? I would make all 3 of us watch The Room. I stole yours. You don't have what you'd watch instead because you're watching The Room with me instead.
If I was, like I said, if I was 4 beers deep watching The Room with you two, I would have one hell of a time.
I'm gonna recommend The French Connection.
Yes, okay. There's the French Connection. There's the Italian Job. There's Bonnie and Clyde. Like there are better. Like blah 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 blah. We get it. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not gonna do a gag this time around. I'm just gonna tell you.
You know what?
Go watch a good movie. 5-time Academy Award winner.
The opening
The French
scene.
Connection.
You should watch the whole movie, but the opening scene of The Dark Knights.
Yes.
Better mob bank robbery scene
Yes.
by far.
Is that the one where the Joker organizes it so everybody kills everybody else?
Yeah.
I've seen that. It's very good. I've never seen the whole movie, but I've seen that scene. It's
You've
very
never
good.
seen The Dark Knight?
No, I haven't.
I
Wait.
don't even know how many times I've seen that movie. Not on
Hans.
purpose. Not like sat down to like I'm gonna watch The Dark Knight today. I've just seen it like 4 or 5 times, just like on accident.
Hans, this
No,
is
I've
like
never
when they
seen it.
rediscover some species from the Ice Age we thought was extinct. You're a guy on a movie podcast who hasn't seen The Dark
You're the
Knight.
one 20-something
not
white
even
dude who's
legally
not
allowed.
seen The Dark Knight? How did you manage
I don't
this?
think they let you do that. The movie podcast cops are gonna come get you and sit you down in a room and make you watch The Dark Knight. How? You know what?
Sounds like that's gonna be my recommendation.
The Dark Knight wasn't your personality from the ages of 16 to 18?
No, I
Yeah,
didn't
no,
see
it was us.
it.
Wait, so you completely just escaped the era of like the bad Joker impressions.
Oh my gosh.
That was the
Wanna
thing.
know how I got these scars? You just missed all of that.
That was
You were
that was a
under that
thing
radar.
within our direct friend group for like a while.
Oh,
Oh,
Really?
bless you, Hans.
Wow. Dang,
Oh, man. Can we swap lives for a little bit?
The problem is, I honestly want to say this is so amazing that you should continue it, like, because this is like legitimately an achievement. But then that would mean
Yeah.
you don't get to watch The Dark Knight, and you should watch The Dark Knight. 'cause
It's a great
my movie
movie.
recommendation is that Hans watches The Dark Knight because it is.
Yeah,
just
I changed my recommendation.
the hype.
Forget
a good
the
movie.
French Connection. I
Yeah.
never said that. Hans should watch The Dark Knight.
okay.
I'm fully ready for Hans to just like walk in like next podcast recording session. We're gonna be like ready to talk about Skull movie. He's gonna have like the Joker like face makeup on, and he's gonna be wearing
scars.
and he's just gonna be like, oh, you know, the scene whenever he like goes and like, you know, skyhooks the dude, like he's just talking like, oh,
Did
isn't
you
that
know
crazy?
Christopher
Like-
Nolan really flipped that truck?
It's like, did you know that Heath Ledger like locked himself in like this room for like, you know, a couple weeks, like method acting, Ugh. And it's gonna be his personality, like, because that's what it does.
I want you to hit me. Hit me.
It comes for all of us. Where's Rachel? Wait, so I've done that before. I've done like,
Yeah.
Where's Rachel?
I don't think I've
didn't
ever
say
heard
shit.
you do that.
Now you have a choice, Batman.
What time is it? Because it depends. She could be in one place or several.
He's gonna get to the cruise boat scene, and he's gonna be like, "This is
Oh my
actually a little
gosh.
weird because this feels like the fourth act tacked on to like a whole other movie, but like it's still really good. It like doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Structural like kind of oddities aside, it's still good. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Like whenever the prisoner, chills. It's gonna give you
Oh,
chills.
man.
Hans. Ah.
It's so good. And like you can watch The Dark Knight Rises. Like it's fine.
You should watch the whole trilogy.
Yeah.
The Dark Knight Rises is the one that has the ending that
Yes, the Dark Knight Rises is Black Dawn.
Black Dawn.
It's Black Dawn.
Okay, so far the only Batman trilogy film that has been untouched by Seagal is Batman Begins, unless I'm missing something. That's the only
No,
one
the,
completely
I've
safe from
never,
comparison.
I've never seen like, I don't think I've ever seen any Batman movies. Period. With the up until we saw Batman, 2022.
Wait, the only Batman movie
Pattinson?
you've seen is the Batman?
Yeah, the one with
Robert Pattinson?
the Twilight guy in it, right?
Robert Pattinson.
Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, Robert
Robert
Pattinson.
Pattinson.
I think that's
Matt
the
Reeves
only
Batman
Batman
movie?
movie I've ever seen.
I mean, that was really good, but
It
like,
was really
what?
good. It was really
You
long. It
didn't
was
see
really
like
good.
the Jack Nicholson Joker with like Michael Keaton, like
No,
the Tim Burton
never.
Batmans back in the day?
1989's Tim Burton's.
That
Batman?
is, I'm
see Batman
dead
and
serious.
Robin?
The only I've that up until
my
See
then.
Batman
Gosh.
Forever, George Clooney.
You
I've
didn't see
never
Danny
seen-
DeVito play the Penguin?
You didn't see Danny DeVito play the Penguin, Hans?
No, I've never seen any Batman
my
movies.
Frank
up until the one
Reynolds
with
is
Robert
the
Pattinson in it.
Penguin.
No, okay, no. Patreon. We're gonna watch all the Batman movies
Every
with
live
Hans.
action Batman film.
Every live action Batman film. There aren't that many, but they're all worth watching. They have all.
Simultaneously, there's so many
Yeah.
god live action Batman movies, and also really in the grand scheme of things, there's not that many live action Batman
The problem
movies.
is every single time there's a live action Batman movie, it gets memed onto the ends of the earth. Like every frame of every one of these movies has been analyzed and talked about in casual conversation.
Wait, so this guy is on a podcast talking about movies, and he's never seen when Batman whips out the Batman credit card.
Never leave home without it. Bat Clooney?
Man,
No,
this guy
I
doesn't even know
haven't
about the
seen
shark
that.
repellent spray. This guy doesn't know shit.
You've not seen Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Wait, you
No.
haven't seen
Walk
Ice
into
to
a
See?
room
I
and
haven't. I
say,
have not seen any Batman at all. None.
Freeze,
None
and
of
then
them.
just, like,
I've not seen any
blast
Batman
everybody
movies
with an
aside from the
ice
one
ray.
from
You haven't seen
2022.
when the Joker pulls out the really long gun and he shoots down the Batplane?
Or like Robin on ice skates. Fighting
Danny
Poison
DeVito,
Ivy.
like in his pajama onesies, like.
Oh my gosh.
No, I've seen none of them.
So
I've
good.
seen the opening scene from whichever one that you were just talking about with the bank heist. I've seen that. That's
it.
Again, Hans, I really, honestly, at this point, the funniest thing you could do is like super hardcore lean into it because you are like 15 years too late. Like you come and be like, did you know that like the hospital, the explosives, like the timing was off? So when the Joker like looks back confused, like that was Heath Ledger, like that was real, like because they actually blew up the hospital. Did you know that? Huh? They actually blew up the hospital. But you didn't even know that.
I didn't know that. No.
Oh my gosh.
You like this is I need you all of the like in the Lord of the Rings like when he kicked the helmet he actually broke his toe like for real life every single person knows that one. I need you to know all of those for Batman and just like point those out as if you're the first person to realize.
You want me to come
Ice
back
to
next week and
meet
just
you?
throw in all of the little fun
Yes.
details that everyone knows?
Yes,
Oh
exactly.
my gosh.
What a revelation.
Oh my gosh. This is amazing.
I'm
This is
sorry,
much more
I didn't
interesting than
realize
the movie
that.
we're talking about.
I think actually the Asian connection is whenever Batman goes to China to extradite the dude and he connects him to like the Fulton extraction system and like he eats him.
I talked about that scene several episodes ago, and you nodded along as if you knew what I was talking about. Betrayed.
I don't
Betrayed.
think I'm
is
nodding along.
amazing.
I'm following what you're saying.
No, we're gonna start a companion podcast only accessible through the Patreon. Hans watches Batman.
Dang, it's like Hans. It's like you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain of the podcast.
Oh my god.
Gotta introduce a little chaos.
It's not about the money. See, and this is why the Patreon is only like on the free tier, like it's a Patreon, but it's like a 1 cent tier because it's not about the money. It's about sending a message.
sending a message.
That's what podcasting is.
It's not about
sending
the
a
money.
message.
About the money. It's about sending a message. About
Unless
sending a
you're
message
like the
only three
McElroys.
white guys talking about movies can send. Gonna introduce a little chaos. You're gonna sit down and you're gonna watch all 49 Steven Seagal movies, and by the end you will be dead.
Oh yeah, it'd be like way easier to sit down and watch all the Batman movies
Oh, that'd be fun.
than it is to
The
watch.
only problem is I'm assuming there aren't enough of those. Like,
Yeah.
there's probably only like 700 podcasts that have done that exact same thing.
Oh, I'm sure.
The market is completely devoid. Like, it's empty. Like,
Yeah. Although, we said I mean I couldn't find a Seagal podcast that had actually finished the project. I don't know. I haven't looked at all for a Batman podcast because I thought just by being an American and being a white 20-something male, you had seen all the Batman movies just on accident. So I didn't think there would be
I'll
a
give him
need.
credit. At least like one of the Christopher Nolan ones. Like,
Yeah.
that's like you literally, when you become like a white dude, it happens to us all eventually, and they send you like the membership card.
Yeah.
They send you like the socks with sandals, and they send you like a craft beer, and they send you like a Blu-ray copy of The Dark Knight, like, and it's required. It's like you're watching Batman is right next to your like draft card, like when you sign up for this the whatever that's the technical name is, social whatever, the draft. When you turn 18, they're like, and you've seen the Batman, right? And you're like, you've seen The Dark Knight, and you're like, yeah, and they're like, okay, cool, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
That was everyone's favorite movie for a year. Like
We do have to put together a list of all of the other Seagal podcasts because I don't ever remember them all.
there's the Seagal sessions.
I have that one up. That's the one with the really good poster.
Yeah.
But they stopped at episode 30, Out for a Kill. I think that was the one
Fair.
that did them in random order.
No shame.
Yeah.
And they stopped at episode 30. And that was
Yeah.
in January 23rd of 2020.
Yeah, and then there's something about seagulls. The one
There's-
about seagulls.
Flock of
Oh,
seagulls.
that's
Flock of
Is that what it
Seagulls.
is? Flock of...
I think they made it to like 32, 33, something like that. A lot of these podcasts did not watch them in
Flock of
order of
Seagulls.
publication, too.
Yeah, I don't think we found like any that watched them in like
Like release order.
I will say
they
I
ended
have
in
not.
2017.
Oh.
I actually haven't seen the Ben Affleck Batman, so I haven't seen all of them.
On Seagal, a Steven
I mean, that
Seagal
one's fine.
podcast was 28th of July, 2023. I think they were our main competitor.
Yeah.
It's
But
not
they
a competition.
stopped.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
No,
Yeah.
but I think they were the ones that were most recently like still going because they were doing it monthly.
Yeah.
And they at the
Which, hey,
time
fair.
that we fair. At the time that we started, they were still going, but their last episode is episode 20
Now,
on
sadly,
the 28th of July
well, because
of 2023.
that means they spent 20 months talking about Seagal.
Yeah.
That's true. You know what this means though? You said it, Aaron, a couple times, but I think we are officially at the point now where you're right. That makes us the resident experts. That makes us the definitive experts.
Well, and because there's, as we've seen, even the director who's directed the most Steven Seagal movies has done like 6 or 7 of them.
uh-huh.
Yeah.
There's no way, like, if you directed 7 Seagal movies, you have not watched all the other Seagal movies.
No.
Steven Seagal has not watched every movie that he's in.
No.
We might be the only 3 people on planet Earth
who've seen every.
who
We're
by
getting
the
close.
end of this
We're not
will
there
have
yet.
seen every
And,
single
you
one.
know, hey, if you're listening and you're like, actually, I've seen them all, don't tell me that.
I'd rather live in ignorance.
Keep that to yourself.
Yeah, there's inside thoughts that stay inside your head. You don't have to speak them. They don't have to be outside
Don't tell
thoughts.
anyone
Keep your
that.
inside thoughts.
Wait,
and I
here's
recognize
one-
the hypocrisy in us saying that.
We haven't actually. I don't think we talked about this one. This one is Seriously Seagal.
Oh, we've talked about
Oh.
Seriously Skull.
We have.
How far did they get?
Their episodes aren't in order.
Why did no one do these in order?
Well, no. Like this is. They're like we. I'm looking
Seems
at
like
it
the most
on-
boring way to do it, but that's what we did.
Oh wait, they're doing. Oh wait, hold on. They ended. Okay, wait, hold on. Why did they do it this way? They ended what they're calling their season 1 on Out for a Kill, and then season 2, episode 1 is A Dangerous Man.
That was forever. What? Wait, what?
Huh?
Huh?
This
Eh?
is here. Look at this. This is weird.
What? I mean, like, oh, that's a good poster.
Wait, yeah, wait, hold on.
So they
yeah, this
have
don't make sense.
22.
Yeah, they're out
I mean,
of
their
order.
last
They're
episode was
skipping.
published in
Yeah, we
2017,
talked
but-
about this one because their first episode is Under Siege 2, which is a wild place to start.
Okay, so
Yeah.
they're 30 episodes in, but either way, they ended in 2017, so it doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
and they're completely
we're
out of order. And
We are absolutely. I have 4 of these that I can find as of right now: the Seagal Sessions, On Seagal, a Steven Seagal podcast, Flock of Seagals, and Seriously Seagal. I could have sworn there was one more.
wait, hold on. I know there was one more because like I listened to like 5 minutes of one episode, and now every single time I open up Spotify, it like recommends it to me. Steve and Destroy. Have you talked about Steve and Destroy yet?
No.
yeah.
Like literally, I have listened to like 5 minutes, and like it keeps like when I go on Spotify, it's like here's the podcast you listen to, and I don't listen to that many on Spotify,
and
so it's like they're on my
Destroy.
front page.
Interesting.
I did see these ones. I
Okay.
listened to like 10 minutes of 2 different episodes.
Interesting.
They got 37
And they are
episodes.
going in order. They're like the only other
They're
one
going
that
in
goes
order, yeah. But
Yeah.
you're right. They got 37 in. Then they
But
ended
they
in October of 2022.
But their last episode 37, is A Dangerous Man.
It's because they have like the Onion movie where he like makes a
Oh.
cameo. They have like SNL,
Urban
like they
Justice.
they
okay,
have
yeah.
Clementine, like they have some.
Do you want to know something funny?
Please.
We. Ellen, I just did a Google search for Steven Seagal podcast, and the top
Wait,
one.
are you putting these together into a list? Are you keeping track of these?
I'm keeping track of it. The top one is a website called Player.fm, and it's just Steven Seagal podcast, you know, one of those like generic lists or whatever, and we are number 1 on that list.
Wait, what? Can you repeat that? I was distracted.
Look at this.
We're
Now
famous.
our picture doesn't show up here for some reason.
No.
I don't know why, but
Is it safe to assume that this is just because? No, actually, wait. Stack of
Yeah,
Dimes uploaded 26 days ago.
Our
That can't.
why does our
though?
why does our image not
Yeah.
even load on
Our
this
beautiful image.
Yeah, I don't know why it
webpage?
doesn't show up here.
And Stack of Dimes is about like a whole bunch of other stuff too.
Yeah, I'm sure
Yeah.
it just they had one episode that had like Seagal in it at some point, so it
The
comes up
Rooster
on this
Teeth
list. Because I was
podcast
gonna
is
say we're on the
also
same
on
list
this.
as the Rooster Teeth podcast.
Yeah. No, but we're number one. We gotta.
Wow.
Hey, we're on the same list as the Rooster Teeth podcast. I'll take it.
We gotta get the picture fixed on this list.
Yeah.
But see, here's another distinction I think is important to make. Whenever you go to Seriously Seagal, it is by the Seagal Bros. And it says, join P. Bear Flavor and Mr. Smitty as they dive into a wonderful world of whispers and arm snaps, all while getting serious about the films of Steven Seagal. Anyone that seems to be even like remotely positive towards the man or his movies. Whenever they're like, oh, we're having like a good time, I'm like, no. You're not watching these having a good, don't lie to me. Don't pretend like you're having a good time watching this.
Wasn't there was another one though? Wasn't there one where they like stopped?
Do you have the one that's
really
on like the weirding way?
But they only did a couple
That's a
episodes.
good name.
Hey there. Hello. This is Zach here, editing the episode. So Hans's mic just cuts out right at that point there, as you may have heard. I think like his computer just did a whole restart. And normally you would expect that people who are like maybe professionals in this space would like actually go back and find some way to like end the episode. But the episode is already kind of over for the last like 10 minutes, I think, before that happened. So we just kind of rambled for Aaron and I just kind of rambled for like another like 10 minutes or so. And then just stopped recording. So yeah, I don't know. This is just kind of the end of the episode here. We just kind of talk about like some other Steven Seagal podcasts and then randomly like Alan Wake and Twin Peaks and stuff. If you want to listen to that after the theme music, but yeah, it's over. What are you still doing here? Go home. All right, bye.
That means one of us has to die.
We can't do this. Oh yeah, that's fair. I mean, like, Seriously Seagal, their last episode was uploaded 6 years ago.
Here. Because I remember we found this. I just remember it because it's the Weirding Way. It's a Dune reference.
Yeah.
Is like the production company. But they had one that was Steven Seagal. Because I think they're the ones that you're thinking of. On Seagal, a Steven Seagal podcast? Yes. Oh, wait, no. They have one as of July 2023, Code of Honor. So this isn't the one that you're thinking of where they started it and then pretty soon after we're like, hey, actually, he's done some bad stuff. Like, so do you have this one on Seagal? No, but these ones, they sounded like weird in a way they had like some fun because they had a Police Squad podcast.
Oh.
We had this conversation like on the 4th episode. We've gone through all of we're doing the same.
Yeah.
History repeats itself because you had like the same except actually I think Hans reacted that time.
Well, I lost Hans.
Yeah, I lost Hans too. He froze in a very unfortunate position. There was another one that I was really interested in, and they had like a Twin Peaks podcast or something, I want to say. By the way, I just finished playing Alan Wake. Have you played that one yet?
I have not played Alan Wake.
I think you might enjoy that.
Wake. Really? I don't... It's got horror themes to it. I've never really enjoyed anything.
But it's not a horror game.
Horror. Okay.
It occasionally does like ooh, here's a scary face, she stole your wife, but it's really not a horror game. Because I kind of had like concerns about that too. It is definitely influenced by Stephen King.
Okay.
But like it's not actually there's no point where I was actually scared. It is very like horror themed without being a horror game.
Oh, okay. I might be able to handle that then.
I just like it's about he's a writer.
Yeah.
It's a game about like a writer who is a writer and like has all these like
Let's
writing
look
themes and everything.
directly into our navels. How
It does
how
it
deep can
dude,
we
so
get?
hard. Like as long as you're on board for that, I think you would enjoy it.
I'm
because
always on
it
board
is
for a little
basically
navel-gazing.
it's basically like someone was like that someone was Sam Lake. Sam Lake was like I really enjoy Stephen King and Twin Peaks, and that's the game. And it's like it's like an 11-hour single player narrative, like my kind of...
Yeah. Interesting. Okay, I might try it then.
And I'm sure, like, I feel like you just own it. I guarantee, like, on Steam or GOG or something, like, at some point you've gotten it. That's just how this game works. Like, I own it on, like, every platform.
I somehow got 2 copies of, what's it called? Sort of Control.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Which is in the Alan Wake universe, right?
I know, yeah. Now I need to play that one next because I hear it's connected in some way. But really, it's just with Alan Wake 2 came out, and I've heard so many people talking about this. But I was like, hold on, before I buy Alan Wake 2 and ever play it, Alan Wake 1 literally came out 10 years ago. I literally own it on like Steam and Epic Game Store and GOG and probably like every other game distribution platform it's on. So I should play that one. And it's still, some of the cutscenes look rough, like character faces are not good. But overall, largely thanks to its art direction, it still holds up. It still looks like really solid, like even all this many years later.
Well, that's good.
And it's like fun. It's like not like the most amazing gameplay, but it has like it's like honestly like, the story is okay. It's not amazing. The gameplay is okay. It's not amazing, but kind of like the vibes, the feel. Like I'm a fan.
Vibes based gaming.
It's very vibes. I'm a fan of it just because of that. Do we think Hans is ever coming back?
I don't know. Anyway, that's our show.
Yeah, that's our show where we spent more time talking about Alan Wake and our concerns with AI than the movie itself.
I think the post episode stinger will be whatever Hans is saying to himself right now.
Oh, just kind of rambling, like, in the void,
cursing into his microphone.
Yeah, I'm not envious of you because I feel like this is going to be a tricky episode to edit.
Yeah, this is going to be a tricky one to edit.
Yeah, it's not going to be fun.
Okay.
So we're going to stop recording.